Hey everyone!
Hello, hello.
Welcome to day 3 of our winter gardening challenge.
Wow.
Wow, I can't believe it. We have already made it to day 3. This is so fantastic. Good evening, Kathy, Jody, Victoria, Ann, Arlene, Quentin, Shauna, Leslie,
People are
Linda,
streaming in.
Aqua, Scott. It's good to see some familiar names in here. You guys are our faithful ones that are going through the challenge here. So super excited to see every single one of you in here. And we've got a really big topic tonight, all right? And that is, what is it?
Protection.
Protection. You know, when it comes to winter gardening, you are going to want some way to protect your winter veggies, right?
It's probably the main thing people think of, the first thing people think of when they're thinking of winter growing.
Yeah, so, you know, last night we talked about the timing of winter growing. First night, choosing what you're going to grow. Tonight is all about protection, and we're going to jump into that very soon here. It's good to see so many more people just flowing into the room and into the chat. Exciting. Wanda, Nancy, Elizabeth, Martha, Barbara. Good to see Isel, Diane, Tammy, Carrie. All right. So many people coming in. So tell you what, I recognize, you know, I've been reading some of the comments on Facebook, and it's really exciting to see those of you that have been playing around with the calendar and that are excited about it and excited about what you can do with your winter garden. I also see some of you that are just feeling a little overwhelmed. You know, we've thrown a ton of information at you, and it can be a little overwhelming too. Yeah. So listen, that's 100% normal. So we just want to back off the pressure on you. Just want to let you know that, you know, don't feel like you are under the gun. Just take that pressure off and take it one step at a time. We want to help hold your hand as much as possible through the process. And literally what we encourage people is to start small, right? Start small in your garden and then kind of master that, and then you can grow up from there. And when it comes to timing, don't completely freak out that you haven't, you know, that you're too late to plant different crops or whatever, because there frankly is almost always something that you could be planting right now, especially right now at this time of year in pretty much almost every location, right? So, but tonight we talked about timing last time. Tonight we are going to talk about protection, and then we have a really, really awesome opportunity that we're going to share with you at the end of the class tonight as well. So quick reminder, especially for anyone that is on new here, make sure when you are putting in your questions that you mark your chat as a question. There's a little toggle there. I think it says chat mode or something like that. You want to mark it as a question, and that way we'll be able to see it in the chat. We will try and answer perhaps some of those questions as we go along, so feel free to put them in anytime. But when it comes to the end, they end up getting lost in the chat. So, and they literally go where we can't get them back. So we're going to open it up for questions and answers at the end. And we'll just ask everyone to put their questions in again. And we try and get to as many as possible. Obviously, with a lot of people on here, we can't get to everyone's questions, but we will try and get to as many as we can. All right, anything else before we pull up the slides here?
Wondering if we should just review some of the main points that we covered the first 2 times.
Okay, yeah, good idea. So why don't we start out with, actually, why don't we do that? Why don't we review those? I've got a little overview slide.
Okay.
So kind of just showing where we're at in the challenge, right? So when we pull that one up, we can review. Okay, so tonight, I'm just going to pull up these slides here. Tonight, we are talking about Winter Gardening Challenge Day 3, protecting your winter garden. And quick reminder that every night we are doing a free giveaway. Every night we're doing a free giveaway, and that includes tonight. Tonight's free giveaway is our Ultimate Garden Pest Cheat Sheet. This is it has over 30 different insects. I think it's like over 40 pages long, different insect pests. And at the end of the class, everyone who stays on live with us to the end of the class will be entered to win this free giveaway, and we'll do the giveaway at the end of class live with you. So one of you is going to win our Ultimate Garden Pest Cheat Sheet. It's got a quick, easy lookup guide for over 32 garden insect and bug pests. There are organic pest control toolkit in there so that you know what to keep on hand for any emergency. You can just get the little toolkit that we list in there. There's a photo by photo directory to quickly identify your garden invaders, so you can actually see photos of the insects, so you can help you identify them. And then we list some of the insect and bug characteristics, what they do and how to deal with them naturally and in an organic way. So, so make sure to stick with us to the end, and we'll do a live drawing for that. And don't forget, we have a big giveaway that we're going to be announcing tomorrow, and that is one person is going to win lifetime access to our Elite Gardening membership. That includes your own personal click and drop gardening calendar, monthly live meetings with my dad, Edwin, myself, private Facebook group access, access to our entire garden training library online. It's really pulling out the kitchen sink here for you all. And that is lifetime access. Literally, you don't have to pay a dime and you get to be with us for life. Pretty awesome. So how to participate? I had someone email me and they had a really good point. We don't want to leave anyone out. So we are going to go ahead and give every single one of you that has registered for the challenge is going to have one entry for this giveaway. That's something that I just decided, is that every single one of you will have at least one entry for this giveaway just for joining the challenge. But those who are active in the Facebook group, every post and comment is another entry to win, all right? So the more entries, the more activity in the Facebook group that you have, the higher your chance of winning. The only caveat is do not spam. We will disqualify you if we find you spamming in the group. So just be authentic, comment on each other, encourage each other in the Facebook group, post your, when you finish the homework assignment, post in there, celebrate in there, and every single one of those will increase your entry's ability to win. For those of you who aren't on Facebook, we'll still give you an entry, so you'll have a chance to win as well. So that's our big giveaway. Downloads. So each evening we've had homework, a little homework sheet for you all, and those downloads and the slides, those downloads can be found in the Facebook group under the units. There's a unit for each day. We make those as we go along, and we put the slides in there as well as the homework sheet to download. Plus, all the resources for each class session will be posted in the unit for that class and will also be sent by email. So we'll make sure that you get it, whether in the Facebook group, in that unit, or by email as well. Just wanted to give a quick reminder on that. So here is a little overview, and let's just talk about where we're at in the challenge. So day one, what did we talk about, Dad?
Choosing what to grow and where to grow your winter garden.
Yeah, so a quick little recap on that.
Yeah, so what we're promoting is working with nature, growing things that are cold tolerant.
Yep.
In the wintertime. So we're not talking about growing tomatoes or summer squash or green beans.
Yeah.
In your winter garden. We're talking about cool season crops, and then we talked about some things to consider when you're choosing your location.
Yeah. Day two, we talked about the timing of your winter garden and how this is the #1 critical factor for a winter garden, because remember, one of the key takeaways from day two is that we're not trying to actually grow something in the winter, right? What we're trying to do is we're trying to grow it ahead of the winter so that it's mature by the time winter sets in, and then we keep it alive over the winter and are harvesting off of it during that time.
What Paul has said here is a really key concept that I think, in reading the Facebook group, I'm not sure that people really caught that as well as you need to.
Yeah.
That's a very key thought.
Yes. Yeah.
We're growing things to maturity by that Persephone period, the 10 hours or less of daylight period. So you want your plants to be mature as they reach that period of time, and then you're harvesting off of them through the winter. Yeah. Isn't that nice? It's kind of like having your refrigerator outside, and you just go and pick fresh out of it when you need it.
Exactly. So that's why timing is so critical, because you have to know when to plant those plants ahead of time so that they'll be mature by the time winter sets in. All right, and then day 3, we are on day 3 today. That's why I put it in red here, and that is protecting your winter garden. We're going to share with you an extremely simple way to, well, we're going to share with you multiple ways you can protect your winter garden, but we're going to share one extremely simple way that you can do it that's very effective. And big announcement that we've made each night is we are including a bonus day 4. Tomorrow night, we're going to have a question and answer wrap-up time. It's really going to be focused on you answering your questions, helping you out. And like I said, it's open-ended. We may throw in a surprise for you. We'll see what happens. All right, so now is the time to silence distractions. We're going to get into the main presentation for this evening, and can't wait to talk about protecting your winter garden. Exciting. All right, so let's start out with talking about the purpose of protection in the garden. Protecting your winter garden, all in all, when you boil it down, any kind of protection in a winter garden is simply changing or modifying the existing climate in some way. So you got a climate that you live in. It gets cold during the winter for most people, right? And that's part of the climate. It gets cold. Some places are windy. They have lots of rain. That's part of your climate. So protecting your crops is changing or modifying that existing climate in some way. And this happens in a totally natural way in nature all the time. If you've ever heard of the term microclimates. For instance, a south-facing slope. We talked about this a little bit on day 1 when we were talking about where to grow your garden. A south-facing slope warms up much faster in the winter and spring because the sun is shining more directly on it. That's in the northern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere, it's going to be the opposite. But that south-facing slope is a microclimate in and of itself.
Yes.
Valleys tend to collect cold air, creating frost pockets, while hilltops tend to stay warmer. That's a microclimate, right? So figuring out where to grow your plants, that's part of the figuring out where to grow your plants. All of these little environmental changes create little microclimates where different plants can thrive.
And for those of you who aren't on a big farm where you might have hilltops and valleys to choose from,
yeah.
The different sides of your house create microclimates. So the south side of your house has one microclimate, the north side has a very different one.
Yeah. Karen asks, why do you call it a slope? We're talking about a south-facing slope. So think of it like a hill. If your ground is completely level, then the sunlight, will just be shining it on the same angle across all of your level ground. But the way that the sun gets angled in the winter, a slope that is facing to the south will have more direct sunlight, and a slope of ground that, like on the opposite side of a hill, where it starts sloping down the opposite way towards the north, will get even less.
Yes, it'll get less.
Sometimes very little.
Yeah.
And so that's why we call it a slope. So our goal in protection is to create a little microclimate for your plants, and to do it as simply and as economically as possible. That means with as little work as possible and as little money as possible. That's the simple way of saying that. So simplicity and economics then have to be balanced with reality when it comes to actually keeping your plants alive. So how can you balance this all out? And then the question is, how much protection do I need? And we'll get to that in just a second. But first of all, let's note that protection has more to do with protection from the elements than it does the cold itself. This is a key thought for tonight. Protection has more to do with protection from elements than from the cold itself. Yes, warmth is a key factor, and some plants need more of it than others. But at times, most of the time, wind actually causes the greater damage through desiccation of plant leaves or causing windburn. Wind, rain, the elements themselves hurt your plants the most. The more still the air is around a plant, the lower temperatures that plant will be able to handle. We've seen lettuce plants go down to -5 degrees with some of our simple protection measures and survive.
Yeah, what Paul means is the external temperature was -5, and without heat and just some simple coverings, they survived. They survived.
Now, granted, we were praying over those crops too, so you can throw in that maybe that was a miracle. But very simple. Keeping the air as still as possible will allow even some of those low freeze tolerant, which lettuce is one of the low freeze tolerant crops that we were just talking to you about. One of those low freeze tolerant crops went down to -5 degrees in the outside temperature with some of the simple protection measures we're going to share with you. Now, think about what a high freeze tolerant or a medium freeze tolerant could handle with some simple protection measures. It's a lot like the wind chill that we feel when we go out on a cold day. You know, when you look at your weather app and it says it's 30 degrees, but the wind chill is 25. The plants kind of feel the same thing, right? They don't like being wet and cold at the same time, and wet and cold and windy is even worse, right? So practically, when it comes to creating a microclimate in your garden for growing through the winter, there are a couple things to consider. Number one is the microclimate where you are growing. So, you know, try and find a natural microclimate. That we talked about that on day one. Choose the south side of your house. We were just talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
If you have a building that has a south side, especially if it's like a stone or block building.
If you have a block wall or a stone wall or something like that where you can get thermal mass, then you can have a really nice microclimate next to it.
Yeah.
That will be considerably warmer than the surroundings.
Yep. And then the second thing to consider is protection from the wind and elements. And this is what we're going to mainly be focusing on tonight, is this protection part. In the end, you may want to look at protection from your veggies from wind before worrying as much about keeping them warm. The cool thing is what we're going to share with you tonight will protect them from the wind, and it's going to keep them a little bit warmer as well. So you're going to get both in one shot here. So practical ways to protect.
Okay, well, as we've already alluded to, protection can take on a lot of different forms and range from being as simple as growing next to a windbreak all the way through building a full-fledged greenhouse. And we're going to go ahead and cover several ways to protect your vegetables here. We're not going to be able to go into every option. But a windbreak or a hedge is a very simple way. If you know the direction of your prevailing winds, especially during the winter, just put them behind something like a hedge that would protect them from that prevailing wind. That can even raise the air temperature in a protected area by a couple of degrees.
Yeah, there's a farmer named Elliot Coleman who did some trials with it. He put some thermometers just behind a wind break, and he actually found the temperature stayed warmer.
Yeah. Another very simple thing is a cold frame, and that's a very traditional, long-standing way of having some greens in the wintertime. The basic idea is you just make a little box that you put over a piece of ground and have some glass lids on hinges that you can raise, and you plant in there, and you've got a neat little protected space there.
The main thing with the cold frame, real quick, that is, just going back to this slide, is this can be super effective, but it's mainly for if you're just wanting to grow a small amount and crops that are pretty low down to the ground, right? So, and then due to the labor and cost involved with making a cold frame and putting it all together, it's not really our first choice or best choice that we would suggest going with. But we want to throw it out there as an option for you. Like, this is something that you can.
And actually, most of the ideas we're looking at evolved from this, I think. This was one of the first technologies for winter growing. But anyways, one thing that has really revolutionized winter growing is the development of floating row covers. Floating row covers are made out of spun bonded fabric. So it's not a woven fabric, it's a spun bonded fabric. And it's pretty much the same material and process that's used to make filters trying to think of, or like your, the dryer sheets that you put in the dryer, a little heavier than that, but the same kind of material.
There's the same concept there, right?
Yeah, it's the same concept. And they're very cost effective, simple, and you can get a lot of ground covered for a few dollars. They're lightweight, and you spread them out like a blanket over your vegetables. And some of the benefits are there that they are lightweight. They allow light to pass through them. They're breathable, and they also allow moisture to pass through them. But they do protect from the wind. And they increase the temperature by a few degrees.
Basically almost everything that you want, right?
Yeah, and they're very cost effective.
Yeah, don't want you spending all of your money on getting a row cover, so right?
Right. So to use a floating row cover for protection in your garden, you can just throw it over your crops like a blanket. But especially for crops in which you are eating the greens, it's usually nice to put the cover up a little off of them, like you can see these wire hoops here in the picture. That supports the cover off of the greens so that if the cover is touching the leaves when it freezes, then you'll get little burned, frost burn places on the leaves, and that's it's a cosmetic issue more than anything else, but it's nice to not have those. And then another way is to build what we call quick hoops, which are like miniature little hoop houses. We're going to show you how to do that in just a minute. If you choose to purchase a row cover, here's what we would suggest. There are a number of different thicknesses of row cover, and we suggest getting a 1 ounce thickness because it's probably the best compromise. You can get lighter weight ones. A lot of farmers also use a very lightweight row cover like this just for insect protection in the summertime. And then you can get heavier weight row covers as well, but this 1 ounce thickness is really nice because it will let 70% of light come through, and it gives you a good amount of temperature protection. Of course, the lighter weight the row cover, the more light goes through it, and the heavier weight, the less light comes through. And so this weight, we feel, with 70% light is a really good balance. In zone where we are in Tennessee, 1 row cover can effectively protect most of the medium cold tolerant crops. In fact, what we would do when we were growing winter crops for market is we would, a lot of the crops that we grew out in the field, like kale and collards and things like that, and bok choy, we would cover them with a single row, a single layer of floating row cover, and just leave them covered all winter long. We just lift the cover when we wanted to go in and harvest. That works really well. They won't dry out because the rain gets through, but they stay, it keeps them tenderer too. If you plant the crops, if you have something growing outside of that row cover and something growing under it, the ones under the row cover are going to be more tender and they're just more desirable.
Yeah.
Then what you can do is you can double row covers when temperatures are dipping really low. So like I said, we would have a single row cover on all the time. But when temperatures get to mid to low 20s, we'd usually pull a second row cover up over them.
And we'll go over that in more detail in a little bit, because we can jump over to the calendar and show the actual temperature
Yes.
details and stuff like that in a little bit here.
Yeah.
But and I think when I do the demonstration coming up, I'll talk a little bit about that as well.
Yeah. And then we've had experience depending on the crop, but for example, if you've got broccoli or cauliflower, those are cold tolerant plants. But the broccoli and the cauliflower themselves are not necessarily cold tolerant. The broccoli, if it gets frozen, the head, if it freezes, that's not good. So we've taken those quite a ways into the winter, just pulling even a third cover over them when it gets really cold, like if it's down around the upper teens, we pull a third cover over them. Yeah. They did well that way. Row covers can also be used inside a greenhouse or a hoop house to add another layer of protection.
That answers a question that Jenny had right there, saying, are these row covers all in the hoop house or outside? And the answer is both. You can use them outside. We're going to show you how you can use them outside, but you can also use them inside a hoop house or a greenhouse to add extra protection.
Yeah. And so what we like to talk about layers of protection: 1 layer of protection, 2 layers of protection, 3 layers of protection. And that if we're in a hoop house, the hoop house itself is the first layer of protection. And then we might have 1 or 2 layers of floating row covers inside. If we're outside in the field, then the floating row cover, the first layer is the first layer of protection, and then you might add a second one or third one. One thing I want to say is that it is not good to leave a second or third layer of protection on the plants for extended periods of time. That should only come on during the low temperature event, and it needs to come off as soon as the sun is shining because the plants need that extra warmth. And we found, we found one time we had left, I think, 2 covers on a bed for an extended period of time, and the stuff in it was really stunted as a result of that. It probably kept it cooler in there because they could never warm up during the day. And anyways, you can keep it covered all the time with 1 layer. The second and third layers need to come and go depending on the temperatures. My brother John has used several layers of row covers to protect tomato plants in the spring from a hard frost that resulted in temperatures down in the low 20s, and under all the row covers, it was in the low 40s. They put 3 or 4 covers on. So all in all, row covers are probably the best balance between cost efficiency, protection, and labor. The next step is to make a quick hoop, a high tunnel, or a caterpillar tunnel. And we're going to explain what those are.
Okay, so let's talk real quick about how to build your own winter quick hoop. And let me know in the chat if you would like to see a visual demonstration that just walks you through the process of building one of these. You can see it in the picture here. And a quick hoop, and this is on why they're so effective. Really, the reason why these are so effective is because they're using these simple row covers that protect from the wind and the elements, so it keeps the air still inside this little hoop, and really provides that little microclimate that you're looking for. Okay, we got lots of people saying yes, can't wait for a visual demonstration. All right, so I'm gonna pull up a video here, and we're just gonna walk you through a visual demonstration of building one of these quick hoops for yourself.
Okay, so let's talk about quick hoops. And maybe you've never heard of a quick hoop before. So first question is, what is a quick hoop? And then what's the advantage of using a quick hoop? So first of all, with that first question, what is a quick hoop? A quick hoop basically is a very simple structure outside where you just form a hoop with a material like this, plastic conduit pipe here, and you just form this hoop that you end up covering either with plastic or with a row cover, and your plants grow inside. So it's just this very miniature, just a very miniature hoop house, if you would. And the advantage of it, okay, the big advantage of it, really almost the only advantage of it, is that it's very inexpensive. It doesn't have a lot of capital that has to go into it. For instance, behind me here is a hoop house. And a hoop house like this one is about 30 by 50 feet, and that can cost upwards of $5,000 just to build a hoop house like that. Whereas putting up hoops like this over about the same space would be a 10th, maybe even a 20th of that cost. So you're talking about $250 to $500 to cover approximately about the same space, and I'm just throwing out numbers there. But that gives you a little ballpark of how this is a lot less expensive, but it does require a little bit more work when it comes down to the actual season, because you may need to end up uncovering them and covering them to allow for ventilation and other factors like that. Now, another thing is, you might be wondering, why can't I just take my row cover and just throw it over the plants? Why, can't it just be a blanket that protects them? And with some vegetables, you can do that to a certain extent. Like here where we are in the zone 7, we can pretty much do that with cabbage and Brussels sprouts. They're pretty hardy. They're on that really hardy list. And so we'll let them go for a long time without any cover. And then when it starts getting pretty cold, when it gets down into the low 20s, we'll go out there and just throw a row cover over them, and it adds just enough protection. But there's a value in having the extra airspace underneath. I'll try and get this where this doesn't flip out on me again. There's an added value in having that extra airspace to heat up, and it just acts like an insulator, keeping it warm inside there. All right, so let's get into some construction here, how we would set one of these up. I'm going to show you what I would consider one of the best ways for someone like yourself or just a simple home gardener to do this. You know, there's many different materials you can use to create the hoops like this. There's fiberglass rods that people use and just poke into the ground on one side and then on the other. Also, you can use metal conduit pipe, but then you'll need to end up purchasing a bender, which can be really expensive as well. So what I suggest you start out using is a rigid PVC electrical conduit, and you want to make sure it's the electrical conduit that's gray and not white, because the white PVC pipe is going to end up breaking down in the sunlight. And you know, you can put plastic over these or row covers, and if you use plastic on the white PVC, it can break down the plastic as well. So you'll want to use a gray rigid PVC electrical conduit pipe, and this is a 10 foot length, so that's one material you'll need. And then for the construction of them, you'll need a tape measure, you'll need a hammer here for hammering in these rebar pieces. We've got pieces of rebar that we put in, and I'll tell you why we use these. And then you'll need sandbags and the row cover itself to cover it in the end. So the construction of it, what you do is you set out your tape measure, measure along the area that you want to cover, and put these rebar posts in every 5 feet. So it's 5 feet between bows. And this will cover 2 30-inch beds plus a 1 foot walkway. So that's basically 6 feet in between. So you'll measure that apart, 6 feet apart and 5 feet apart going down the bows. And then you'll come along and simply hammer in these rebar pieces. And you want to hammer them in, you know, it's about 18 inches to 2 feet of rebar. And you want to put it into the ground until it's about 8 inches off of the ground. And you can use just a little piece of PVC pipe as a little measurer to do this. So just hammer it down to where the PVC pipe is. And what this is for is, of course, it gives something to put your PVC conduit onto. But another plus with this is that it forms a very nice structure, because as you place your PVC onto it, it keeps the edges of your structure going perpendicular to the ground. Whereas if you're using other materials like if you were using a fiberglass and you were just poking it into the ground, it would end up coming out of the ground at an angle, and so you would have this hoop that was kind of angled going over instead of straight up and down on the sides. And so this ends up giving your plants near the edges more room to grow, and it's just maximizing that space inside. So it's, as you can see, it's very simple to set up here. And then once you have it set up, the next step is to get your row cover and put your row cover over it. A little tip with this is that we like to pull it tight from the ends first and then come along and sandbag it on the sides. And these sandbags are super important, especially if you live in a place where it's windy. You know, here in Tennessee, we can get winds up to 50 miles per hour. And we pretty much need to use a sandbag on every bow of the quick hoop. Otherwise, the winds will just come off and blow the row covers away. So it's important to be able to get your row cover down tight and sandbag it down so that it stays. And then, you know, if it's a really hot day, you can come out and take the sandbags off and lift the row cover over, give it some ventilation. Or if you're coming to harvest, again, you just take the sandbags off, pull the row cover back, and you can harvest inside. And it makes for a great way that you can protect your veggies pretty simply and for a pretty low cost when it comes down to it. You know, these these PVC conduit pipes are just, you know, $1.50 each or something like that. So it's a great way to do this. Now, another thing to note here is if you are living in an area where it's a lot colder and you're having to deal with working with a lot colder temperatures, something that you can do is well, first of all, you can use thicker row cover like we talked about earlier, but you're compromising there. Or you can double up your row covers. You can use 2 row covers. But if you do that, you may want to be a little more proactive to only put that double row cover on during the coldest seasons. In fact, this last winter we had some broccoli that we wanted to take just a little further, and so we decided to double row cover it. But just to do that on the nights when it was going to get really cold. So we went out and we'd pull over a second row cover, and it helped keep our broccoli a lot longer into the season. So that's something that you can do. Another thing is you can use plastic instead of the row cover, and it'll probably give you more protection in the end, but it will end up probably being a little bit more labor intensive as well, because you'll definitely, you know, it doesn't have the breathability of the row cover fabric, and so you'll definitely need to be coming in and pulling it back and letting it air out inside. So that's a quick overview of setting up quick hoops, which I would really highly suggest as one of the best ways that for a very low cost, you can add quite a bit of protection to your garden. Second here, if you want to step it up just a notch higher.
All right. Okay, so there's a quick demonstration of how to set up a quick hoop, and the video might have cut. Whoops! I just pulled up our screen and then accidentally jumped it off. Okay, there we go. Got our slides back up here. So what I was gonna. When the video jumped off, it might have just been saying, secondly, the next thing that you can do, and what I was going to go into there in that little video was talking about a caterpillar tunnel, because the next step up from a quick hoop, which is probably one of the easiest, simplest things that you can make, especially for a home garden at home or a small space. I mean, we've done large areas with quick hoops, right? But you can easily do a small space with quick hoops.
Yeah, we've done an acre or more quick hoops.
Yeah. The next step up is to build or use what's called a high tunnel or a caterpillar tunnel. And a caterpillar tunnel is basically a larger quick hoop that you can walk under, but it's much smaller and simpler to construct than a full-size hoop house. Some people are asking about snow, and also some people are saying they lost the audio. No sound. Let me know if the audio comes back on. We should have, you should be able to hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. No sound. Can anyone hear me? Reconnected, said Terry. Nita says, can hear now. On now, okay, I hear you. Had to okay, works for me. I hear you. Audio is fine. Back on. Sound. Okay, it looks like we just had the little glitch there. Fantastic. Okay, seeing lots of comments, so I think that we're back up and running. All right, so we're gonna keep on going here. Yeah, I was talking about snow because I saw some of you were asking about snow, and it's true that a quick hoop, you know, is a little bit, especially if you're just using a row cover, it's not going to be able to handle a lot of snow. Now, it can handle some snow, and you can, I should make a clarification in that video. I said that the pipe bender may be kind of expensive. They're actually not that expensive. You can get one from Johnny's. It's not that expensive, and you can build your quick hoop out of metal conduit, metal electrical conduit pipe. And those would be a little bit more sturdy.
Yes, and if you really, if snow is a real issue for you, you might want to put them 4 feet apart instead of 5 feet apart. And like Paul said, I would make them out of the metal conduit.
Yep.
And then if you're going to be in a place where it snows a lot, you might want to, you can put the floating row cover over the hoops, but then you could cover it with plastic as well. And the plastic might shed some of the snow a little bit faster and easier than just the floating row cover would.
Yeah. Or if you have lots of snow, the next step up is to do a caterpillar tunnel, and these can work very well with a snow situation, especially if you build one that is this, what's this called?
They call it a Gothic.
A Gothic, yeah. Gothic style.
It has a peak instead of just being rounded.
Yep. So caterpillar tunnels can be constructed yourself. You can see Johnny's Seeds company has demonstrations and a pipe bender to do that. Pardon my typo there. Oh, for demos, yeah. I was thinking demonstration. For demos, yeah, and a pipe bender that you can use to like build your own caterpillar tunnels. That's kind of the do-it-yourself way with bending the pipe and everything yourself. Or if you want to just do it the easy way, you can purchase a kit from my cousin at Farmer's Friend LLC, and we will get you links to this. I see people asking, like, where can I get a row cover? Where can I get this? Where can I get that? I'm going to create a resource document with links out to where you can get each of these different things, okay? So rest easy, rest assured that we're going to get you links to these resources. And then the next step up from a caterpillar tunnel is to actually go up to like a hoop house or a greenhouse. And the difference between a hoop house and a greenhouse is simply a technical one. Hoop houses are unheated, while greenhouses usually have some source of heat. So just for reference, we do all of our growing without any supplemental heat, and we have fresh veggies straight through the winter. So that is something that you can do as well. Most everyone in most of the US can grow straight through the winter without supplemental heat, just with some simple protection measures like we're talking about here. So a hoop house or a greenhouse is really the ultimate way to take your garden to the next level in the winter growing, and it can even be very helpful in the spring for starting new starts. The only thing is that they are much more expensive, right, than the previously mentioned options. But that being said, they're often larger, they can easily be purchased in kits, and they have the nice benefit of being more accessible in that they have doors for entering and exiting. A caterpillar tunnel, you can set up doors on it because it's like a small hoop house. But you know, when you get a hoop house, you can get kits that I think even come with doors and stuff, or you can build your own.
Yeah. So a caterpillar tunnel is the cheapest way that you can get a walk-in structure to cover your garden.
Yeah.
But the hoop house, and basically, if you've got budgets, yeah, you know, if that's not a concern to you, I'd say go bigger.
Yeah.
But we've done everything from the hoop houses to the caterpillar tunnels and just floating row covers on the ground as well.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you can do it anyway.
We've used every single one of these options that we're telling you about, right? So now with a hoop house, you can grow more tall crops effectively in a hoop house than in a caterpillar tunnel, just because you have more space that has a higher ceiling. So choosing a hoop house or a greenhouse over a caterpillar tunnel may be a challenge depending on what you want to do and how much you want to spend. For most people, I'd suggest going with a caterpillar tunnel if you have the budget for it and you just want a small hoop house structure that you can walk inside.
Yeah.
Overall, a caterpillar tunnel can be as low as 1/6 the cost of a hoop house for about the same growing space, and that's a ballpark. That's a ballpark there, so don't quote me on that. But approximately, 1/6, and it's all going to depend on whether you build it and source all the materials yourself, or if you purchase a kit or whatever, right?
And your kit can be more complicated or more simple.
Yeah,
which affects the cost.
Yes. Otherwise, if you have the capital to invest, it can be very nice to have the much more spacious area to work in that a hoop house will give you. Plus, part of the hoop house can be easily transformed into a place for starting plants, which can be very handy, like in the spring and fall, whenever you're starting, because you can be starting starts all year round, almost, right? So it can be handy to have a little place to be starting your starts. Cost-wise, here's a little comparison. A hoop house can cost anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000, whereas a caterpillar tunnel can cost around $1,000, and this would be fairly comparable space, I think, to around the $5,000 hoop house range. So hoop house maybe $5,000 to $6,000, and covering the same amount of area, you could probably get a caterpillar tunnel for around $1,000. Again, these are ballpark numbers. Okay.
That $1,000 can get you a caterpillar that's about 14 feet wide and 100 feet long. Yeah, 14 feet wide, 100 feet long. That's a decent amount of growing space, by the way. That's a really, really decent amount of growing space. That's a simple version. And like we said, there are different things you can add that would put that cost up a little.
Yes. All right, so there are many different ways that you can practically expand your season using something as simple as a hedge, like we talked about at the beginning, all the way up to using a full-scale greenhouse. And, we don't have time in this challenge to go into all of the tips and tricks of growing in a greenhouse and a hoop house and all of that. But we do want to look at a little bit of details about double and triple covering, because we talked about that a little earlier. And there is a feature in the calendar that I mentioned last time that I said we were going to look at this time. But so I want to make sure and keep that promise for you, right? So I'm going to go ahead and pull up one of the gardening calendars. How many of you enjoyed looking at the gardening calendars last time? Let us know in the chat here. Okay, I'm going to pull up one of the gardening calendars. For those of you who weren't on here last time, if we have anyone that's new, these are our what we call our click and drop gardening calendars. You get a calendar based on your location. And then on the side, there's a list of crops, and there's multiple plantings for each crop. And you can literally just click and drop those plantings into your calendar, and it'll tell you when to seed it, when to prepare the bed, when to transplant it, expected time that you can harvest it. You can filter so that you can just see certain tasks. You can switch to a list view, so you have a checklist of what to do each week. So that's kind of the 30-second version rundown. Plus, you can click on any task, and it pops up a little dialog box, tells you what to do, how to do it, links out to our favorite varieties so you can quickly purchase your seed, links to visual demonstration videos showing you how to do it. So these are our click and drop gardening calendars. Last time, I said I was going to show you this time a little bit about the frost zones here. Okay, so in the calendar, we built in a frost zone that it's kind of just a quick view to see very quickly when you should probably be looking out for frosts based off of your location. So with ours here, we're looking at possible frosts from kind of mid to later October through basically mid-April. is kind of our main frost zone. And again, if you click on the frost, it will come up and it has a whole bunch of information about frost protection, just telling you about frost protection, what to do, how to do it. Actually, we include here links out to where you can get row covers, where you can get a quick hoop bender, where you can get caterpillar tunnels, right? So, and then visual videos saying how to assemble a caterpillar tunnel.
The video we just watched is there.
Yeah, constructing quick hoops right here, right? Protecting your winter veggies. So all of that information is right here, right at your fingertips. What I want to show you here is what we call the hard frost zone. So you have a regular frost zone, but then when you come into the middle of winter, you start getting harder frosts, right? It gets even colder and colder. And so we put in what we call our hard frost zone. I think it's like 6 weeks in or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 6 weeks in on either side. And if you click on the hard frost zone, we have a little guide here for you. So the hard frost zone, and I'm just going to blow this up a little bit more so maybe you can see it. Under the what to do section, we have a quick guide that will work for most winter veggies when it comes to knowing when you should put multiple layers of protection to cover your crops during the winter, all right? So what we have set up with the guide here is if the temperature is going to be between 25 to 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and we have the Celsius in there as well, but 25 to 32 degrees Fahrenheit, then you should usually be able to get away with just one layer of protection. That's like one row cover or one piece of plastic. There's going to be crops that will do fine at lower temperatures with one layer of protection. This is what we're showing here is just for most winter veggies. Like cabbage, we put one layer of protection over cabbage and it does well. We've had temperatures go all the way down to 0 and our cabbage is still okay.
Yeah, with cabbage, I'd start the one layer at the second category.
Yeah, but that's because it's a high freeze tolerant crop. Most of your veggies, so that's why, again, we're just emphasizing this is most winter veggies. At 25 to 32, put one layer of protection on. When it is 15 to 24 degrees Fahrenheit, if it's going to drop down to 15 degrees,
between 24 and 15.
Yeah, 24 and 15, then you want to put 2 layers of protection during the coldest periods. And that means usually only overnight, okay? Only overnight. So you're going to have 1 layer of protection during the day. Then as the sun is setting in the afternoon, actually before it sets, you want to capture that warmth. Yeah. So late after like 3 or 4 p.m., you'll go out and put over a second layer of protection. Let it go overnight because it's going to drop down cold overnight. And then in the morning, you're going to go and pull off that second layer of protection so that the sun can get back in there and warm up those plants again.
And I would almost say no matter what temperature the outside temperature is, if the sun is shining, just go with one cover. You know, it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters how cold it is. Yeah.
Yep. And then if it drops down to 14 degrees Fahrenheit or below, then we would suggest using 3 layers of protection. Again, only during the coldest periods, which is pretty much just overnight. And if you're growing in a hoop house, the plastic of the hoop house itself is considered your first layer of protection, all right? So coming back up here, when it's 25 to 32 degrees Fahrenheit, you can just, and you're growing in a hoop house, you don't necessarily need another row cover in there. But if it's starting to drop down into, you know, it drops down to 15 degrees, then you want to put a row cover inside your hoop house, and that creates a second layer of protection.
If it drops down to 24, below 25.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, and then once again, we have a little section here, how to do it, and you know, videos again talking about protecting your veggies and stuff like that. So directly right at your fingertips there. Just wanted to show you that we included that there in the calendar as well. All right. So some of you are saying, I see someone says, can you please email me the calendar, please? Good question. All right, so we have something really exciting to share with you. And I'll tell you what gets us most excited is when we hear back from people like you, all right? Here is Laree. She's one of our members, really an all-star member. She's been with us for quite a while now. And here she was just saying she was pretty excited about the first December harvest, thanks to using the quick hoops that we talk about in the course.
She's in Nebraska.
Yeah. So, hey, actually, I'm just going to do a little shout out. Are any of our current members on here with us right now? Let us know in the chat if you are in here. I just want to do a little shout out to our in-house Born to Grow family, because you are the ones, I mean, you get us excited, and everyone really that puts to use what we do and comes back and shares with us how it has blessed them and the results that they've gotten really gets us excited. Like James Hunt here, who said, I've been a gardener for years. Hey, yeah, look here, Janice, Jane, awesome, Diana, Elizabeth.
Nita,
yeah,
Paige.
Good to see you all on here. PJ, oh yeah, Jeannie, fantastic. So hearing back from you is what gets us excited. And like again, I said here, James Hunt, he said he was eating kale and collards all winter long. They did well all winter. Here is a picture of his look at this little simple quick hoop that he built. And he was eating these fresh greens all winter long. You guys can do this. You can do this. And then really, from all of our members, the harvest that you get, Joelle here says, so much produce. I want to say this season has been the most over thanks to the new methods I've been using in the gardening classes. Laree says, though I consider myself to be a somewhat experienced gardener, I can't even tell you how much I've learned already from the gardening courses. Here's a picture of her harvest. So I just want to ask you all, what would it be worth to you? What would it be worth to you to be able to walk out into your backyard and pick fresh veggies on a daily or weekly basis year round? What would it be worth to you to not have to go to the store, to the grocery store, to shell out your money, your hard-earned money for kale and collards and broccoli and cabbage in the winter, right?
That could be a week or more old.
That could be a week or more old, and that means that it's losing nutritional value during all of that time. What would it be worth to you to be able to have just a little simple hoop like this, right? And you pull back the cover and you see that fresh salad out there. What would it be worth, like James, to have that fresh harvest? And talking about the nutritional value, what would it be worth to you to have that nutritional value for your family that's going to improve your health? It's going to improve the health of your family, your kids, right? Your
immune system.
A lot of you are saying that's priceless. And in many ways, it really is kind of priceless to be able, especially, we purposefully do not run these classes as a fear-based class. We recognize there's a lot of things going on in the world right now. And many of you probably went into grocery stores not long ago and saw that there was a lot of shelves that were empty, right? And we don't know when the next crazy thing happens in our society and all of a sudden the trucks stop moving and the food isn't on the grocery shelves, right? So that shouldn't be your main motivation to garden, but it's a factor to consider, right? That there's, what is it worth to have some food security for yourself? And let me tell you about the old way of gardening. The old way of gardening is where, you pull out a bunch of different gardening books, you read through them, you hear all of these different voices of people telling you to do different things. And frankly, sometimes it can just get frustrating and overwhelming, and it's a little depressing or struggling. I mean, some of you have probably experienced this. You go to Google and you type in a question in there, and you pull up like 5 different YouTube videos, and they all say something different, and you're trying to figure out which one should I actually listen to, right? And so you go and you try one thing, and it doesn't work, and you're like, well, which one should I now listen to, right? I want to share with you what we would consider maybe the new way of gardening, and that is having the clarity to know what you should be doing in your garden, when you should be doing it, and how to do it all in one place, all at the same time. What to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And this how is really important too, because these are the tips and the tricks from gardeners that have gone before and have learned the hard way So sharing with you our tips and tricks so that you don't have to learn it the hard way, right? So you can get there so much faster and so much easier. We call this gardening without guesswork. And several of you actually a bunch of you last night were asking, okay, how can we get access to those gardening calendars, right? Because last night, if you were on with us, we shared with you just a whole rundown demonstration of how the calendar takes that guesswork out of the garden, shows you exactly when to plant and what to do, how to do it, and when to do it all in one time. And so really, that's what these calendars were born out of. It was born out of this experience of gardening and saying, how can we make it extremely simple and extremely easy for a home gardener so that in just minutes you can plan your whole system. And so I'm very excited. Let me know if this is something that would interest you, is to be able to have one of these calendars in your hand, to be able to have a weekly checklist that gives you extreme clarity every week of the year, be able to know what you should be planting, when you should be planting it, and skip the overwhelm. If that sounds like you, then here is what I'm really excited to share with you this evening, because I'm going to open up an incredibly awesome opportunity that we've actually never done it like this before. So it's really, really cool. Here's what we've talked about our membership several times, right? And this is what we call our membership. Right now, it's in the beta stage. That means that we are still on the early stage of these gardening calendars. And the membership is really based around these click and drop gardening calendars, all right? So I'm gonna just give you a quick rundown of what comes when you become a beta member with us. See, we're looking for people that are interested in joining and being one of our beta members. That means we recognize the calendars aren't exactly perfect right now. We want to hear your feedback. We want you to use them. And we've got some pretty cool things coming down the pipeline, down the road with these calendars. So as a beta member, here's what you get access to. You get access to your own personal 5-minute click and drop gardening calendar. You get access to gardening masterclass video lessons. You get instant access to our entire garden training library with over 160 teaching and demonstration videos. You get access to health spotlights and garden recipes, monthly live meetings with question and answer times, past live recordings from our live meetings, bonus private Facebook group access. We're throwing in a few bonuses here for you as well. Bonus garden cheat sheet giveaways. Those are the giveaways that we've been doing each night. Several of you asked, how can I get those cheat sheets? And we're gonna throw in also a bonus 14-day microgreens challenge. Now, I'm gonna go just very briefly through each one of these just so you get a clear understanding of what's included in the membership. And we have 2 different levels, so we try and open it up to make it available to every single one of you. So every single one of you can be able to jump in with it. So starting out with your personal 5-minute click and drop gardening calendar. So just a quick recap on those. You get a calendar based on your location, and literally when we first let these out, the chat room went crazy. People and the response from the people that have been using them, even in the Facebook group here, has just been so much fun seeing the fun that you guys have been having with the calendar already. But in the calendar, what comes with it is you get those click and drop planting schedules that you can drop into your calendar. You get leapfrog or succession planting built into the calendar already so that you can have more harvest and less space, right? And that itself creates the ability to have that year-round harvest. Remember I said, what would it be worth to you if you could be harvesting every day or every week of the year? This is key to being able to do that. You get the weekly checklist of garden tasks. So it just really gives you a lot of clarity. You won't have to be running by the seat of your pants anymore. Detailed instruction and demonstration videos, easy seeding or harvest filters, so you can see ahead of time what seeds you should be ordering, your frost zone, and we just looked at those together, and quick links out to our favorite varieties. So that all comes with your personal click and drop gardening calendar. But it doesn't stop there. You're also going to get access to our garden masterclass video lessons. And these masterclass video lessons are actually the videos that are linked out from the calendar, plus a few more that actually aren't in the calendar as well. And what these video lessons do, our masterclass video lessons are condensed video lessons that are about 10 minutes long each. And they walk you through what we call our game plan, our Gardening to Abundance game plan. It has 4 stages of your garden, and we simply walk you through each one of those stages through, ignition is making sure that your soil is right, getting a soil test, how you can set up all of that. Launch is starting your starts, transplanting them out, how to do composting. Grow is actually caring for your plants, watering, trellising, cultivating, weeding, how to keep your garden weed-free without spending hours on your knees picking weeds, all of our tips and tricks on that. And then extend is extending your season into the winter, right? Along with, it doesn't stop there, so along with the masterclass lessons, you get access to our entire garden training library with over 160 teaching and demonstration videos. And one of the biggest parts of this garden training library is our home gardening course. This means you get access to our entire flagship home gardening course, which is a $300 value. That's not just a number put out there. This is what people have actually paid for this home gardening course, all right? And you get online access to all of those training videos. It's over 18 hours of training right there in that gardening course for those of you that want to go in depth. Plus, you get access to our health spotlights and garden recipes. This is where my wife jumps on and she takes a veggie that you could be growing in your garden and does a little recipe with it, gives some little nutritional facts about it, and there's some pretty cool recipes in there. Michael here says, very well done. I'm going to get some of those sweet potatoes we grew and make some fries this afternoon. You also get access to monthly live meetings with question and answer times with my dad, Edwin, and myself. And in these live meetings, literally, we get on like we are here with you right now, and we stay on and pretty much answer everyone's questions. I think there hasn't been a single time where we've ended before we've answered everyone's question. So this is extremely much more personal. Like Amy here says, the membership is so worth it. Plus, in not only just getting access to the live meetings, you also get access to the past live recordings. And we have over 50 hours of past live recordings in there because we've been doing this for quite a few years now. So you get access to look at all of those. And then I'm throwing in these 3 bonuses, right? Private Facebook group access to our private Born to Grow Gardening Family Facebook group. And inside, we just have a vibrant community. Here's pictures of people's harvests. Jan Johnson had this is some of her first harvest. She had never grown a garden before, and this is some of her first harvest. She was pickling dill pickles with some of her first harvest from her garden. Look at this, more harvest. I'm loving this. Jan says, I've really become a gardener thanks to Born to Grow. Bonus number 2 here is our garden cheat sheet giveaways. And these are the giveaways that we have been giving away each evening. And you will get access to all 3 of these when you become a member with us tonight. These include our immune booster cheat sheet. It has 3 of our favorite fertilizers for your garden. Really cool stuff. Our plug and play garden plan. Exact plan we use to grow over $1,000 worth of food in a small garden space. Easily grow 20 different varieties of vegetables. It can be scaled up, it can be scaled down. You'll get access to our pest cheat sheet that I talked about earlier as well. So these come, and then our 3rd bonus is our 14-day microgreens challenge. And this challenge is literally step-by-step instructional videos guiding you from seed to harvest to grow your own microgreens. It includes regular emails keeping you on track, telling you what to do each day. You can enjoy your harvest in only 14 days or less. And we have a bonus here in the microgreens challenge, and that is to turn your microgreens into automatic food growing machine. I've invented a microgreens tray setup where it literally waters itself, and the microgreens, so all you have to do is seed them and let them germinate, and then you can walk away and they will water themselves and grow for 10 to 14 days. You can go on vacation and come back and harvest them. It's on autopilot. It's really, really cool. So that, you'll get access to that as well. So here's a quick rundown. I know several of you are wondering, like, what does it cost? How do I get in, right? So here's a quick rundown. We have 2 membership levels. We have a basic level and an elite level. The basic level, you will get access at the basic level to the click and drop gardening calendar, the masterclass video lessons, and our 2 bonuses down here, the garden cheat sheet giveaways and the 14-day microgreens challenge. All right, so You get the main meat of the gardening calendars and those videos that will help you go step by step through your garden, plus a couple extra bonuses here. And we are doing something really cool and exciting. We haven't done this before. You can join at 2 levels at basic. You can either join for just $10 a month, or something we've never done before is we have split it into, we used to have a yearly membership, but I split it down to a 6-month membership where for 40 bucks, you can get 6 months and save $20. So, I mean, that's almost a no-brainer right there. You know, 10 bucks for 1 month or 40 bucks for 6 months of the gardening calendar, plus these extra bonuses. If you want to jump in at the elite level, you get access to literally everything, all right? You get access to the gardening calendar, the masterclass video lessons, the training library, the live meetings with us, the past live recordings, Facebook group, gardening cheat sheet giveaways, and the 14-day microgreens challenge. And the elite membership is just $20 a month or $80 for 6 months. And that means you save 40 bucks if you jump in at the 6-month level. So again, just a very special offer there for the 6-month level. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up a link here where you can jump over and you can just click the link on this page that gets pulled up, and you can get started there with signing up for either level, the basic level or the elite level. And I'm just going to walk you through what that looks like right now. So let me just pull up. If you click the link, that popped up in the chat there, it will take you over to this page. You can go to borntogrow.net/join is another way that you can get there. It'll take you to this page here. This is a limited time offer that we're opening it up here for these click and drop gardening calendars. And literally you can scroll down, there's a whole lot more information, videos of using the calendars, but what you want to do is click get started now, and it will drop you down to where you can choose between the basic level and the elite level. So you can choose whether you want to go basic or elite. Then you're going to come down and you're going to click on the Get Started Now button for the level that you want to join at. And it will take you to the page where you can sign up. And then it's just a matter of putting in your name and your information there. You can, if you haven't already gotten lifetime access to the recordings of the Winter Gardening Challenge, you can add that to your order right there. And then you can choose between the 6-month plan where you can have that special savings, or you can sign up with just the monthly plan, and then you put in your payment information, complete it, and you will be welcomed with open arms into our gardening family. We'd be super, super excited to have you. And we have a fast action bonus, drum roll, fast action bonus. The first 100 people will be entered for a second drawing, a second opportunity to win lifetime access to the Elite Gardening membership, all right? So the first 100 people who jump in, you get a second opportunity. We're gonna do a second drawing to win lifetime access. So jump in quick if you wanna be a part of those first 100 people, and you could possibly win lifetime access to our elite, the elite level of the membership. Again, what gets us excited is when we hear back from you, like Ray here says, I absolutely love this tool. It's so simple to use. Even a novice like me can follow the instructions and have a successful garden. The videos are so informative and the recommendations for plants are right on the money. I don't see myself using any other tool. Whether you're a new gardener like Jan Johnson, who had never gardened before, or if you've been gardening for years like Larry, we want to help you take your garden to the next level. We want you to have the experience of Roy Kim here, who said there was a very noticeable difference in the amount of fruitage this year compared to last year. And like Wendy here, who said, I enjoyed every minute of the class. I've never had a garden, mainly because it seems so overwhelming. All I can think of watching the class was, I really think I can do this. That's what we want you to come away with. We want you to come away with the thought, I think I can do this, because you can. You can do it, and we are here to help you. To top it off, we are backing it up with our 30-day, no-fail, 100% money-back guarantee. It's actually a double guarantee. We have a 30-day and a 1-year, no-fail, 100% money-back guarantee. 30 days is a no-questions-asked guarantee. So if for any reason you decide it's not for you and you want to cancel, just send us a note. And if this does not help you take your garden to the next level, then hey, we're here for you. So just send us a note and we'll get you covered there. Plus, we have a 1-year no-fail money-back guarantee, which means that over the course of 1 year, if you put to practice the things that we teach and you see no improvement in your garden, then obviously this was not worth it. And so after a year of using the information that we have taught, you can come back to us and just show us a little bit of proof that you put it to use, and we will absolutely give you your money back if it has not seriously improved your gardening. We are confident that what we teach will improve your garden, and so that's why we're willing to back it up. I know it seems kind of crazy, maybe. Some people may wonder, what's the cancellation policy? Your membership is a term-to-term commitment. So, month to month or term to term, whatever you sign up at, you can cancel literally anytime you want. It's no contract. There's no fine print. We're here for you. We're not going to. We're not trying to hook you into something in the back door. We're honest. You've been with us for the last few days. We want to help you out, right? So now is the time to take your garden to the skies. We can't wait to see what you can do in your garden. I want you to experience what April did when she said, I started my planting calendar, super easy to use. I already have work to do. Love it. Trina, I just watched the video on the launch of the calendar. Amazing. I can't imagine all the effort it took to put in place. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's the wrong slide there. The fast action bonus tonight is the first 100 of you. First 100 that sign up will get a second opportunity to win lifetime access to the Elite membership. So you can get started now for literally just $10. If you wanted to just jump in with $10 a month for the basic level, or like I said, it's almost a no-brainer to jump up to the $40 for 6 months. So you can click the link that comes up in the chat here, or you can go to borntogrow.net/join. That's another option.
So Paul, there's several people in the chat who are asking, how long is this offer standing?
Okay, great question. So this is a limited time offer. Limited time offer, and it is only going to be available through Sunday night. Through Sunday night. I was wondering, maybe I shouldn't tell you when it ends. No, no, it's only going to be available through Sunday night. So this is a limited time offer. And once again, I just highly encourage you, jump in quick if you want to be the first 100 and have opportunity to win lifetime access. But I understand if you need to go talk to your family members or something like that, we're with you, we got you, we understand. But you do get special perks for taking fast action. And once again, I'll just ask you again, like we were talking about at the beginning, what is it worth to you to be able to have that weekly harvest? What is it worth to you to have a garden and fresh veggies that are super, super healthy, that will that are going to boost your own health, the health of your family, that when things crash in the world and there's no veggies on the grocery store, you can go out to your backyard and pick from your backyard. Literally, I was just looking at it, if you jumped in at the $40 for 6 months, it's like 22 cents a day. I mean, that's like a leaf of kale, if that, right? I mean, maybe a couple leaves of kale. Like, you can literally grow that much veggies so easily that you can easily, recoup that just in the veggies that you grow from the garden. And we're trying to pull out the kitchen sink for you and give you as much as possible, right? So really, really excited about that. All right, so now I don't want to forget our free giveaway. So while you all are signing up, I'm going to go ahead and pull up a list of those who stuck on live with us through here. And we're going to do this free giveaway. What do you say, that?
Yeah.
Okay. And maybe there's a couple questions we can answer. People ask how do you know if I'm a member or if I have a lifetime membership already? Send us an email and we'll let you know. Denise says, I signed up. I live in 2 zones. Can I get set up for both zones? Absolutely, Denise. We'll set you up for both zones.
No extra cost.
Yeah. Let's see. How do I know if I'm in the first 100? I think if you jumped in so far, you should probably be in the first 100. We'll send out an email to all of the first 100 letting you know who won. Yay, we're excited too. All right. Let's see. How long is this offer available? We talked about that.
Sunday.
Bren says the site can't be reached. Bren, I would say try again, because sometimes if we have too many people hitting the site all at one time, then it can crash. So try again and you might be able to get through. All right. All right, Judy has a good question. If we get basic now, can we upgrade to elite later? Absolutely. Yep, you can upgrade at any time. Just send us an email. All right. Janice says, no, it was April. Says, so if a person is not able to join tonight, what's the cost? So this is limited time and it will be available through Sunday, but after that, the membership closes and it's not open to the public. So I should make that clear. This is not open to the public right now. So this is a private opening just for you all of this winter gardening challenge. It's not even open to the public and it's going to close again on Sunday. So this is your limited time opportunity to jump in. All right, Dad, here, why don't you catch this question here? It says, our soil is pure sand. What fertilizer do you suggest for the winter garden and when do we fertilize? And maybe you can answer that while I go over and get our list of live attendees. What do you say?
Okay. If your soil is pure sand, the first thing I would recommend is adding organic matter. One of the challenges of a very sandy soil is that water just runs through it. You know, there's nothing to hold the water in. So adding organic matter is really helpful for that. The organic matter has a sponge-like effect in the soil, and it helps to hold the water. Other than that, I'm hesitant to. There are different kinds of fertilizers. In growing organically, we like to use rock powders, and there are a number of different rock powders or green sands. And then there are things like kelp meal the rock powders. Most of these rock powders have a number of different nutrients in them. One we like is called azomite, and it has a lot of different micronutrients in it. Kelp meal also has a lot of different micronutrients. It has quite a bit of potassium, which is nice. And then there's green sand, which also is high in potassium with a lot of other micronutrients. So these are all good things. You can also go with we really like the Down to Earth vegan mix. It's a mix of vegetable nitrogen sources with potassium and phosphorus in it. It's a great mix. So that would be good for your winter garden.
All right, great question. Okay, I've got the list up, so we are ready to do our drawing. I actually have 440 people on the list, so we are going to do the drawing here, and I'm going to take you over and show you, just like we do every night, we're going to do it live with you so you can see that this is legit. Okay, so I've got 440 right here, that's the max, and we're going to hit 3, 2, 1. Who is the winner? The winner is 307. So everyone remember that, 307. And let's pull up our list here from today. We're going to scroll down to number 300. Whoa, I went too far. Number 307. And the winner is Bob. Bob, you are the winner. Congratulations, Bob. Super excited. Email starts with RWW. If there's several Bobs on here, just so you know who you are. Bob, you are the winner of our not plug and play, our pest cheat sheet here, free giveaway. It's a quick, easy guide, 32 garden insect and bug pests. Remember, for every single one of you, you can sign up at any level of the membership and you'll get all 3 of these. So listen, even at the basic, like if you just signed up for monthly, just for 1 month, for $10 at the basic level, you would get all 3 of these garden pest cheat sheets. Plus,
you're giving everything away.
Yeah. So it would be worth it just for that, right? It'd be worth it just for that. So definitely jump in. Plus, first 100, you'll get that opportunity to win lifetime access to the elite membership. So let's go over the homework very quickly. Number 1 is go sign up. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, you should definitely do that. Number 1 is download today's homework sheet. I actually don't have a link for it for you here tonight, but I am going to send it by email and I'll put it in Facebook. So don't worry about that right at the moment. The homework is going to be for you to choose what kind of protection that you're going to use for this winter. So you can go ahead and start working on that. Try and figure out what you're going to protect your veggies with this winter. A row cover, a quick hoop. Are you going to look into getting a caterpillar tunnel? Are you going to look into a hoop house? You know, start thinking down those lines and figure out what you are going to do for your garden space. That's the homework for tonight. And then complete the homework sheet and then celebrate by going live in the Facebook group. And then last couple slides here. Once again, first 100, you get entered to win lifetime access, and here's the information to jump. You can either click the link on this page or go to borntogrow.net/join and jump in. And we can't wait to see you on the other side. Yes, you can become part of our inner core family. This is our, you're on the in crowd, on the inside. It's a lot of fun, by the way, a lot of fun. Okay, let's open it up for some question and answers now. I'm sure that we have questions of all different kinds. Billy has a question. Go ahead and email me about that, Billy, and I can help you out.
Paul, I saw in there somebody was asking back earlier when we were talking about the quick hoop, somebody asked, what size floating row cover would you get to go over a quick hoop? And so you can make the quick hoop as long as you want, but I would measure my floating row cover, at least give myself at least 3 extra feet on each end. Mm-hmm. So if your quick hoop was 50 feet long, I'd add an extra 6 feet minimum. You might want to, just to make sure you have enough, do a little more than that. I don't think you need more than 3.5 feet though.
Yep.
So you had 3 feet on each end, but how wide? So just bear in mind that the quick hoop that we're using is 10 feet long. Okay, and so you're covering that quick hoop, so you need 10-foot width there, but you also need some extra floating row cover on each side for those sandbags to help hold it down. And by the way, there are lots of different ways you can hold a floating row cover down. There are ground staples that you can use to hold it down. You can try to make your own, use plastic jugs or plastic bags. The thing to bear in mind is that like plastic jugs and plastic bags, like Walmart bags and that sort of thing, they're gonna, that material will disintegrate in the sun. The UV light disintegrates them. That's not a good long-term solution.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we've tried some of those things. And things like boards and blocks and all, they don't work as well either. Trust me, sandbags are really the best way to go. You want your sandbags to have about 15 pounds in them, at least though, of sand, for them to be helpful.
Robin says, do you make your own sandbags?
We do. We buy it. Well, we buy the sandbags and then we fill them with sand ourselves. But we don't actually sew the sandbags. if you are sewing your own sandbag, be really careful to make sure that your thread is UV resistant. We bought a bunch of sandbags and they hadn't been sewn that way. And that was really disappointing to have your sandbags getting out.
Again, learn from our experience and don't do it the hard way, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're here for, is to help you help you skip the hard trials.
Yes.
And be able to just go straight to having an awesome experience in the garden.
Okay, but I'm digressing. You need material for those sandbags to go on, so add an extra foot on each side. So make your floating row cover 12 feet wide, and then however long it's going to be, plus 6 feet at least.
Yeah. All right. Do you have a source for the bags? Do you remember where we get them from?
Yeah, we get them from Deerfield, but I believe that I'm quite certain Johnny's has them. I would expect, I haven't looked there, but I would expect that Grow Organic has them.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just look around. I'm pretty sure you can actually even get them on Amazon. You can get like sandbags.
Probably. I would not be surprised if you can get them on Amazon.
Just make sure that they are the UV.
Yeah, just make sure they're UV resistant.
Yep. Okay, I think I saw someone asking, how often do you water in the winter?
Oh, that's a really good question. It's not as much. And in the winter, in the summer, for most people in most places, the concern is, are you watering enough? In winter, it's the opposite. At least for us in the Southeast, maybe out west or someplace else it might be different, but in winter, because it's cold, there's not as much evaporation going on, and it's really easy to overwater. And you don't want to overwater. That'll stress your plants and it won't go well. So I would not encourage you to water on a schedule in the winter, especially under cover, because warm days are made even warmer and there's more evaporation that takes place under the cover than outside. And so things can dry out faster inside than outside. And you're going to need to just watch. Do a finger test. Regularly stick your finger in the ground. If you feel moisture or see moisture, then you can gauge whether or not you need to water.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the question was, how often do you water in a greenhouse? But it's related to watering in the winter.
Okay. Yeah.
But in a greenhouse, again, just do the finger test to check your soil.
In a greenhouse, yeah.
We water. I would say on standard, we water like maybe two times a week or so inside our hoop house, and then but that's going to be less in the winter. So again, you take that
in the winter. We might go long times without water.
Yep. Claude has a good question. How long is the rebar and how much of it goes into the ground and how much sticks out? So Claude, you're talking about the quick hoop there, I believe.
Yeah.
And those rebars, I believe they're about 18 inches.
I think they're 2 feet.
Are they 2 feet?
Yeah.
And you can actually buy like 2 foot sections straight from Lowe's, like your local hardware store. You don't have to cut them. You can get them in 2 foot lengths already, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
And then we pound them in and we let them stand out of the ground about 8 inches.
8 to 10 inches.
Yep.
Yeah.
Elizabeth says, does snow constitute a layer of protection?
Yeah, I would consider that it does if you have it sitting there all the time. Yeah.
Tammy says, I just tried again and it won't let me complete the order. Good question, Tammy. Send us an email about that, because sometimes we had in the past where some people were trying to sign up. We actually had it was an event like this actually, and we had so many people hit the page, it crashed, and people, it was giving people errors when they were trying to sign up, and it actually, their order did go through, even though it quote said that they didn't let them sign up. So send us an email about that, and we'll make sure that we can get you in. Kay says, can we get connected with others in our zones? Very good question, Kay, and that's been something that we've actually talked about a little bit, about figuring out a way to help you guys get connected with each other that are in similar growing locations. So that is something that we are thinking about. Of course, if you sign up at the elite level, you'll get access to our Facebook group, and in there you can reach out to other people that may be growing inside your same zone. But we would like to figure that out. Oh, by the way, Linda says that Farmer's Friend is also selling sandbags.
That's true, they do.
So
we should have thought of that.
yeah. Yeah. All right. Should the conduit be 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch thick? We use 1/2 inch thick conduit.
Now, if you're in an area where you might have snow load, I would go with the 3/4.
Yeah. Sandy said, missed the length of the rebar. How much is left above the ground? It's a 2-foot rebar, 8 to 10 inches left above the ground. Quick hoop for raised beds. Best frame for this, hoop or wood frame? I would just use the same hoops for a raised bed. Remember the picture of James Hunt that he was growing the greens in the winter? I believe his was a little raised bed there. And literally you just put the hoop over the raised bed and then you cover it with a row cover. So I would just use the exact same hoop setup. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Mary says sandbags are available on Amazon.
Yep. Luis says, should you mulch the garden? What do you use?
Yes, mulch is very good, and you can use hay or straw or or compost even. There are lots of different things that you can use for mulch.
Yeah, we would suggest looking into like a hay or straw or compost mulch as preferable. You can mulch with wood chips, but that, it depends on your garden and stuff. It may or may not work really well for you. And with the hay and the straw, you want to make sure that it's organic, that it's not been sprayed with herbicides.
Yes.
Because that can really be a problem in your garden.
It can.
Cheryl has a really good question here. Your cold temperatures don't go down as cold as we get here in Minnesota. Can we do this type of gardening if our temps go down to -30 or more?
Yeah, that is a good question. And, Elliot Coleman does it in Maine. I suspect you are even colder than he is, but I do believe there are certain things you could grow. I believe that you could grow carrots, but you would have to make sure that you have a good layer of straw or something over them so that they don't freeze in the ground.
Yeah. We've actually harvested frozen carrots in the ground by taking out buckets of boiling water and thawing them out.
Yeah.
We've force thawed the ground to harvest our carrots before.
Right. Yeah. We don't get ground freezing that often.
Yeah.
And that caught us by surprise right before a market. We had to harvest.
Yeah.
But for people where the ground freezes, and stays frozen all winter long, it's a different story. The other thing you can do is, harvest carrots and store them. That's a different subject. But other things like we mentioned, cabbage and spinach is very hardy, and they can, and even your kale. I think you could do it with a plastic hoop house and probably 1 or 2 layers underneath them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely you can do it. And even if you couldn't do it right in the middle, the harshest part of your winter, you could extend your season by a long shot on either side.
On either side, yes.
As well.
That's yeah, at least you can do that.
Yep. All right, Terry has a good question here. He says, what is a stale seed bed? So yeah, a stale seed bed is where you prepare your garden bed so that you're ready to plant into it. But instead of planting the crop that you want to grow, you water that bed and allow the weeds to germinate. So you let those weeds germinate for about a week, and then you come in and you cultivate that soil, just the top quarter-inch, half-inch of soil. You just mix it around, and you disturb all of those little weeds that just started to sprout. Because when a seed sprouts, it's at what's called the white thread stage, where it just has this tiny little white thread.
Even before it puts up the leaf.
Yeah, even before the leaves start coming out. It's at its most vulnerable stage then. And if you just disturb it, it will actually kill those off.
Especially if you disturb it on a sunny day.
Yeah. So you go in. So quick recap, you prepare your garden bed. Instead of planting the crop you want to grow, you water the bed and you let the weeds sprout. Then you come in and you cultivate a week later and you kill those off, those weeds. And then you can actually do this process several times. You could water it again, let more weeds sprout, and cultivate it again. Each time you do it, you're getting more and more of your weed pressure cut down. And then when it comes time that you want to actually plant the crop in itself, you would cultivate once more, and then you would plant the crop in, and then you would grow that crop. And the crop will get a huge, way big head start on the weeds, and you'll have a lot less weed pressure in a bed like that.
So where this method really shines is when you're direct seeding into the soil. We don't recommend direct seeding very many things, but carrots and baby greens and radishes are all things that are not really practical to transplant. You direct seed them. And this gives you a head start over the weeds when you're direct seeding. If you're transplanting, doing the stale seed bed is not so important. You can do it, but it's not.
Let me show you something really neat. So when it comes to doing a stale seed bed, the hardest thing with a stale seed bed is that you have to plan way ahead of time, because you have to prepare that bed weeks, at least 1 week, if not several weeks ahead of the time that you're going to actually plant that crop into the ground. So what we did in our calendar is we built in stale seed bed tasks ahead of the time that you should be seeding the actual crop. So carrots, like my dad said, is one of the big ones that you want a stale seed bed with. So what we did is we actually said, okay, let's actually prepare the bed for those carrots several weeks ahead of time, and then do a stale seed bed. And we actually put in a couple stale seed beds for you so that you can really cut back on the weed pressure that your carrots are going to have when you plant them. And then you'll plant those carrots in, and you'll be way ahead of time. And we built it right into the calendar there for you, so that you will have those tasks, because that's what we found from our own personal experience, is that we always were running late and we never got our stale seed bed in ahead of time, right? I mean, there was a few times that we did it, but
we know we're supposed to have carrots in the 3rd week of August, so we get to the 3rd week of August and we're saying, hey, we need to prepare a bed. Wait a minute. Oh,
yeah, what's going on?
It's too late for a stale seed bed now.
Yeah. All right. All right. Let's see. Some other questions here. I'm looking forward to start on my first winter garden. Fantastic, Case. Super excited for you. Jenny says, how far apart across do we put the rebar? So the span of the rebar is 6 feet. That's the span that the bow is going to cover is 6 feet.
Yes.
But then you want to put them, each bow you want to put 4 to 5 feet apart, depending on how much snow you get in your area. Elaine just signed up. Congrats. Super excited to have you, Elaine. Welcome to our gardening family. Carol says, are regular white bed sheets too heavy for the plants?
If you have something to, I think for most plants they would not be. But especially if you have hoops or, quick hoops or something supporting them, that would be even better.
Something would be better than nothing. So if you don't have a row cover and you can't get a row cover, depending on whatever your situation is, it would be better to go use your bed sheet than nothing at all. But depending on the thickness of the bed sheet, it's probably not going to let as much light through it as a row cover would, I would say.
Yeah, I think that would be my main concern.
Yeah. So
you wouldn't want to. I'm not sure that you would want to keep the cover on during the day. You put it on at night.
Yeah.
And take it off during the day.
All right. Patricia says, I love you both, but are we almost finished for tonight? I want to work on my gardening calendar. LOL. LOL. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we do need to kind of wrap it up for this evening. I know tonight's been a long marathon here, and you guys are fantastic. Pamela says, did you do the drawing for tonight? Yes, we did the drawing for tonight, and Bob won the drawing for tonight, so super excited about that. All right, so listen up. Tomorrow night, I know there's so many more questions here that you all have, and we would love to answer as many questions as we can. We've been going a long time already. We don't want to overextend our welcome, right? You all have been so fantastic, and just want to let you know that remember that tomorrow night we are doing our bonus question and answer time. This is going to be our bonus night where it's all focused about you. We don't have like a real training plan for it. We may do a surprise. We may do something. We're just going to leave it open-ended, okay? And we're going to open it up to you, and we're going to try and answer as many questions as we can. And if you have questions about the calendars, if you have questions about the membership, bring those. If you have questions about your garden, winter gardening, other questions, we're literally just going to be on here going through questions, answering them, and trying to help as many of you as possible. Super excited to every single one of you who has jumped in. Go to the link on this page or to borntogrow.net/join. We can't wait to have you join our gardening community, our gardening family. And I do need to make a notice here. And that is, so I said that, the first 100 people that sign up will get special, a second opportunity, a second drawing to win lifetime access. There's a second thing here, and that is our elite membership level has gotten to the point where we are needing to actually limit how many elite members that we have. This is super important. I forgot to mention this earlier, so make note of this. Make note of this. We have to limit the amount of elite memberships that we have. In fact, we've actually raised the price. It used to be a little bit lower, but we raised the price, and we're having to limit it because when we jump on monthly with you, we stay on and answer everyone's questions. And we want to be able to keep doing that for our elite members. But if it gets too big, like, we have so many people on here tonight, we can't answer everyone's questions. So we are keeping our elite membership to a certain size, and we're doing that for your sake, to help keep it real personal. So once we reach that size, we're going to close down the elite membership level. So you have opportunity right now to jump in at that elite level. But once we hit at that certain number, we have set an amount that we're willing to take for the elite membership. And then we're going to close that down. So as long as it's there available on the page, then you can sign up for it. So I would say go. If you're interested in the elite level, go sign up now, because it may not be there tomorrow. We don't know at what point we're going to hit that page. I think that it probably will be there tomorrow at this point, but it could potentially, as other people are signing up, etc. So just wanted to put that notice in there for you. Otherwise, let's take your garden to the next level. We want to help you be able to have that fresh harvest every week out of your garden, every week of the year. So you're not having to go to the store and spend your hard-earned money on veggies in the store. So I look forward to seeing you on the other side. Go to borntogrow.net/join to jump in. look for the email that will have your homework in it, and jump back into the Facebook group, go live with everyone, let them know that you're excited for completing day 3, and we look forward to seeing you when? Tomorrow night, 7 p.m., we're back here, question and answer time.
Bring your questions
Yeah.
that we weren't able to get to.
Bring your questions. We'll be on. We'll try and answer as many as we can, and we can't wait to see you then. So good night, everyone. You guys are fantastic.
Good night.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a good night, and we'll see you there. Bye-bye.